I'm Anita, sending my gratitude to you for watching my first YouTube video. I'm so excited to be able to share my story and hoping that somewhere you might resonate with my experience. Perhaps it might awaken something in you. Perhaps it might feel like you're being heard for the first time in a while. And by sharing, I'm being vulnerable. But I hope this brings you faith and hope that you're not alone. I want to start by telling you something about me. Not because I want to make this about me, but because I think it might sound familiar. We all have a story, and this is mine. I finished my PhD at 26, and I remember sitting there thinking, is there more than this? I just had this deep feeling within me that there was. I just didn't know what it looked like. It took me 20 years to work it out. But I know 20 years sounds like a really long time, but the journey has been so important for who I've become and who I am today. And importantly, the unbecoming of everything that was never really mine to begin with. I remember not just one night, but several nights, late night TV, in the what would that be, in the mid-1990s, I would say it was, early noughties. I was watching TV and the infomercials came on, and there was Tony Robbins. And he was always so energetic, and he really resonated with me. And I didn't purchase his packages straight away, but eventually I did. And I've got to say, it was one of the best things that I ever did for myself. I bought the Personal Power and Get the Edge series, and I listened to all the videos and had a go at the journal, even subscribed and listened to CDs back then in the car on a regular basis, and it was really transformative. I know it probably sounds a bit cheesy, but that was the start of my growth as me, and slowly stepping into the version of me that I have been hiding for a long time. Watching the videos, it helped me to challenge myself, and in ways I just didn't expect. And I started asking different questions. I started thinking differently about who I was and what was possible. And I think the thing that I just want to make a point of is that what changed was, it was intentional. It wasn't reactionary. I began to choose. But then, as life does, it has a way of taking over at times. Life happened. I followed, I guess, the straighter path, the predictable path, the expected path, I guess. I got the PhD, which was amazing. I was really proud of that. It was a lot of work and took a great amount of persistence. I got married. I had 3 awesome kids. I have 3 awesome kids who drive me crazy sometimes. I found a job that supported me as a mum. I became a teacher, and then I became a school leader. I worked super hard. I still work super hard. And I showed up for everyone. Always hard, just working hard. But I think the thing that didn't sit right for me quietly on the inside was that I kept feeling like a fraud. It's a funny thing to say out loud. It's taken me a really long time to admit that to myself and to anyone really. There were parts of me, the way I've been showing up my day to day, that just have felt somewhat inauthentic. Not all of it, of course. That would be quite tragic, but there are parts of me that I have suppressed and has made me feel inauthentic, and I felt like I was performing a version of myself that looked right on paper but didn't fit for me. But here's something that not many people know about me. But my real awakening, the one that changed everything, came from somewhere completely unexpected. I watched a family therapist work with my daughter, and what I witnessed was extraordinary. The transformation was real, it was empowering, and I thought, I want to understand how this works. And that was the moment I started exploring coaching. It felt unconventional. I didn't really know what it meant. But there was something inside of me that said, this is it. Hasn't been an easy journey. There's been a lot of self-growth through this process, a tremendous amount. I had to challenge parts of myself. Coming from an academic background, I really struggled initially. I was used to lectures and academic research and theories. There was a part of impatience because I was very solution focused, looking for the answers, and I've had to undo a lot of that. But the deeper I immersed myself in the coaching world, this began to shift. And what I started to learn was to slow down, to challenge what success looked like. I was an overfunctioner, still am. That is a work in progress. But I realized my identity was wrapped up in my work identity. I would often think that I would go to catch up with friends and I felt boring because all I thought about and all I did was work, and I felt like I just didn't have anything else to share about myself other than this work identity that I had created for myself and spent so many hours doing. But I started challenging myself and asking myself the question of who am I beyond the roles? And is being me enough? And challenging what I thought success looked like, and not what I was told or thought to believe about success, but really challenging what I really do believe in my core, what success is. And going into the next stage of my life, my kids are a little bit more independent, hitting that middle age as a woman, and really what that second half of my life is going to look like. And I've really been challenging my thinking. I've been challenging my past and how it's affected my present, how it's affected my past, and how it may even be influencing my future. And that is the journey. What I've experienced and how I've interpreted it is how it's impacting and influencing my today. And now I'm realizing what those parts are and what is no longer serving me. And what I've learnt since then has been completely unexpected. I've grown in ways I never even knew were possible. And I shifted. My awareness deepened in ways that challenged everything I thought I knew about myself. The patterns, the thinking, the expectations, the things that I've absorbed without even questioning them. The overfunctioning, that was a problem. That is somewhat a problem. The self-abandoning, something I didn't even realize I was doing. The people-pleasing and realizing that's not helping. And in particular, the playing small. All of that has really come into view. And I'm stepping into me unapologetically. Not the version that was cautious, self-doubting and worried about what everyone thinks or thought, and trying not to rock the boat. That's not me anymore. It's taken a lot of inner work to understand where all of that has come from, and I've been so fortunate to work with some amazing coaches from ICI who really helped to put the mirror in front of me, get me to really go beyond the masks that I've been showing up in the world with. And here is what I've come to understand. And this is where the science really links into it. And those of you who know me know that I love science. I'm such a science nerd. I've come to realize that our life is a series of experiences, and how we make sense of those experiences and the meaning that we attach to them is what drives every decision, every reaction, every emotion. And that we're completely unconscious of it. And something that blew my mind when I first understood it, it's about your personality. That the way you show up in the world and the patterns you repeat, the stories you tell yourself, they aren't actually who you are. But your personality becomes what you continuously repeat. And they're influenced by past events, they're influenced by the people around us, our culture, our society, and the meaning we make to all of that. And over time, it becomes your personality. We think that's just who I am. But we're not born that way. We develop that way. And psychology tells us that most of that all that formative stuff, it's really what happens up to the age of about 7. And then unless we challenge it, we live our life through the eyes of as a 7-year-old. But when we start moving deep into ourselves and we stop and we pause and we look at our intentions and our reactions, we can start to shift it. And this is what this channel is all about. And it's not a fixing thing. It's not about fixing yourself. It's not really even about becoming a better version of yourself, which of course for some would be a desired outcome. But really it's about understanding yourself deeply, honestly, and then choosing consciously, who do you want to be? There is a quote that I keep coming back to. It's by Paulo Coelho, and he said, maybe the journey isn't so much about becoming everything or anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you, so you can be the you were meant to be in the first place. I remind myself of that comment often. It brings me solace, gives me hope. It's where the work lies, I think. So every week on this channel, I'll bring the science, because I think science connects beautifully with human behaviour. It's not just, there's obviously the psychology and the science in that space, but there's so much more than that. Because I genuinely know that I've resonated so much from this learning, and I would love to share it with you and support you on your journey to be unbecome the parts of you that are not meant for you in the first place. And I'd love to share more stories, both from me and from other women, because knowing someone else who's been on the journey, it feels less lonely. I'll leave you with a question each week, and it's not about doing any homework. It's just to spend some time just thinking about you. And if this resonates, subscribe, come along on the journey with me. I also have a free community called She Thrives, which is in a link below, and that's on school, and a free reconnection series, which is a series of short videos with a reflection booklet to help get you started. I'm so glad you're here. I wish you all the very best, and I dare you to dream, and I dare you to begin. See you soon.